Hey everyone, for those of you that don't know, my name is Garth Oaksall and I'm coming to you from Reno, Nevada. So yesterday, Ben Glinsky made an announcement in the Live Good, corporate call about a new offering we're having with telemedicine, where folks as part of their membership would have access to telemedicine. And he brought us some examples of Ozempic, Wegovy, a few others that are very popular right now in advertisements and in users and in growth and all that sort of stuff. And it sounds like we will be offering those. And I know that created some confusion with where Live Good has been and where Live Good is looking to go. And what I mean by that is up to this point, we've basically had products that are in that health and wellness space where we promote organic, clean, natural ingredients and stuff like that. And then when you start looking at telemedicine and Ozempic and that, you start getting into that pharmaceutical stuff. And I know a lot of folks have concerns with pharmaceuticals, rightfully so. But I just kind of want to put things into perspective a little bit. So I'm going to repeat some of the things I said in my Facebook post, but then expand on some things that I've learned over time with other things that that Aaron and I have done. So first off, from day one, Ben has always said we would have hundreds of products and services as part of the membership. And he also mentioned that it's going to look like we're a health and wellness company because that's what we're starting off with. But we aren't necessarily going to be a health and wellness company. So for those of you that have been with Live Good for a while, hopefully that kind of triggers a memory. It's like, oh yeah, I remember Ben saying that. And if you're new to it, that's a little peek under the tent, if you will, of the future of Live Good is we're not strictly going to be a health and wellness only company. So I think we're seeing some of that now. The second part of that is health and wellness can mean different things for different people. It can mean clean eating. It can mean clean products. It can mean getting assistance to help them get over a disease or manage a disease that they may have. So everyone has a different definition of what health and wellness means. So another one there is I think it's probably fairly safe to say that all of us know someone who is on prescription medication. Whether you actually know that or not, there's probably a pretty good chance that somewhere in your circle of people, your network, coworkers, colleagues, whatever, someone is on some sort of prescription medication. So if we could offer a way for them to save money on something that they are already, for lack of a better term, being required to take under medical supervision, isn't that a nice thing to be able to offer? So now, to add to that, virtually anyone of us probably watching this are not doctors or pharmacists. So the conversations between a patient and their medical doctor is their conversation. It's not ours to have. It's not ours to dictate. It's not ours to direct. We are not prescribing anything. That conversation about side effects and benefits has already occurred with the individual and their medical provider. I think it's perfectly fine if you have concerns on something on your personal outreach or personal conversations, you can express that. But ultimately, the role of that is with the medical provider. So we need to respect that as well. We don't want to start getting into dangerous territory of feeling like now we have the ability to be prescribing stuff because we don't. And I'm kind of doing a couple things here. I'm keeping this so the computer so the screensaver doesn't activate, and then I'm scrolling through my notes on here. Another thing I mentioned on there is, and it kind of ties into that, is we are offering a membership for people to save money. How people want to use that membership and what they buy with it, that's not for us to know. In fact, you can't even go in and see what your people, your customers, your affiliates bought. Part of that is because our comp plan is not based off of what they buy. So it doesn't matter that we're tracking volume for our business. And some of that now ties into exactly what we're doing. Because of HIPAA, we should not be able to see what our people are buying. I should not be able to see that Bob is buying Ozempic. That illegal, inappropriate. But I've offered Bob an opportunity to save money on whatever Bob wants to do. If Bob wants to drink greens all day, every day, mix it with a little bit of reds, great. If Bob is prescribed Ozempic by a medical professional, I've just given Bob an opportunity to save money. So now, I'm going to touch on what I kind of teased in one of my comments on there as far as the FTO gene. But before I get to that, one of the things that dawned on me as I was looking at this is when you look at Live Good and the two people we see all the time talking about the products, you have Dr. Ryan and his wife, Lisa. And what we've seen here now is Live Good really, I think, has kind of become them. And what I mean by that is Dr. Ryan is a pharmacist. So his education, his world, his experience has been in pharmaceuticals, prescribing, talking with side effects, talking about how to dose and how to take things with people. That's what his past life has been. Lisa she's got her degree, or a degree, I think she's got a couple of them actually, in science and nutrition. So Lisa's kind of on the side of the fence of the organic, the holistic, the natural, and stuff like that. And Ryan, while Ryan shares a lot of passion with that, Ryan obviously is a pharmacist, comes from pharmaceuticals. So we're really kind of seeing a matching of the two of those coming together, of just throwing out a wider net for folks to be able to get healthy through one method or another. Now, let's talk about the FTO gene, or what's nicknamed the FAT gene. In essence, people who have a variant on this were dealt a bad deck of cards. There's just no way around that. So I obviously am not a geneticist or anything like that, but Aaron and I were involved with a past company that did deal with DNA testing. You swabbed the inside of your cheek, you sent it off to their lab, and they developed a customized supplement based off of your genetic markers that you inherited from your parents. Absolutely loved the product. The people were having amazing experience on here. We were actually backed by a lot of research. It wasn't actually research of the actual product because it's just way too complicated when it's customized for each person, but the research for the ingredients that went into your supplement. Now, I wish we could have stayed on that, and this little tangent, I'm not going to get on a soapbox here, but they kicked us out because we started to work with another company. They wouldn't even let us be customers, which I thought was so ridiculously stupid. I actually reached out to them. I said, can we at least just stay customers? We love the product. We won't sell it anymore. Don't pay us anymore, but let us use the product. And they said, no, you can't even use the product, which dumb, absolutely stupid. Like, if I still want to buy your product, let me buy your product. Okay, anyways, so one of the things they tested, they were called SNPs. It's part of your DNA. It's a single nucleotide polymorphism. I'm not going to get too sciencey on here, but basically what that is if you have a SNP, it means you have a variant in the genes in your DNA. Your DNA is what makes us blonde or brunette, dark-skinned or light-skinned. It also helps with how well your body performs or how your body reacts to certain things. For example, allergies. So I have seasonal allergies. When I was on that product before, I didn't have seasonal allergies anymore because you have genes that are called actionable genes, meaning you can alter the way those genes express themselves through nutrition and other things you do. For example, I can't eat potatoes to turn my eyes from blue to brown. Okay, there are some genes you just can't change. But you do have actionable genes, like if you're talking your digestive system, what you eat and how your body absorbs it and digests it can be influenced by what you're doing on the outside. So you do have genes that are actionable. Now, let's get into the specifics on the FTO gene or the FAT gene. So I'm going to read what, if I can bring it up here, what the report, so with this company, everybody got their own individualized report. So I did have a variant on my FTO gene. I didn't have a double variant, but I had one, which means there can be some issues with weight. Weight does not actually run in our family. Weight issues do not run in our family. So a lot of us probably have the single variant on, but not the double where it becomes a real issue. But I'll just read what it says here. All right, what is the purpose of the FTO gene? This is known as fat mass and obesity-associated protein. It is also known as FTO. It is now known to be an RAN demethylase. So a lot of science on there, but here's where we get to the real point. Why is this gene important? And why did my editing thing come up here? All right, why is this gene important? There are multiple clinical studies showing the common SNP variants of the FTO genes are clearly associated with obesity and increased BMI, body mass index. Patients with the high-risk SNPs consume significantly more calories. SNPs in the FTO gene are also associated with type 2 diabetes and the metabolic syndrome. At this time, now this was a few years ago, probably 2018-ish, 17-ish. Anyways, at this time, the FTO SNP associated with obesity is clear, but the precise mechanism is still being investigated. Now, one of the other things we learned, this was on my report. We were one of the first ones into the company. We had a medical doctor that did a lot of training. One of the things we learned as we got going on this is having a variant on your FTO gene could also show up in a delay of the message from your stomach to your brain. They were able to scientifically show that in some cases people had a 20 to 25-minute delay in the chemical reaction from their stomach being full to then telling their brain, I'm full, no more. So think about that. If you had your deck of cards stacked against you, that you had that delay in that communication, you inherently are going to be eating more because you have not gotten the message yet to say, we're done. So your stomach is taking in more and more and more than it needs. Delayed, your brain says, okay, stop eating, we're full. Well, your stomach is actually overfull. So what happens with that? It gets stored as fat and other health issues come up. So again, some people were just, again, their deck of cards was stacked against them through no fault of their own. It's a disease. It's literally a chemical issue in your body. Now, to take that another direction, food is actually an addiction. People who have a variant or a genetic propensity to addiction, that can show up in food. You get that little dopamine hit from eating something sweet or salty, your body starts craving more. In some people, that craving is stronger than in other people. So there are folks out there that just need help and may not be able to get enough help through making good decisions, especially like if you've got that delay in the communication. You may be eating healthy, but you have that delay and you're eating more calories of healthy than you are, which still becomes an issue. Now, one other thing that we came across on here is food scientists. Maybe you've heard of this. People can actually get a degree as a food scientist. It exists for a reason. If you're of my age or somewhere around there, you may remember when Lay's potato chips had the motto of, bet you can't eat just one. That was their advertising motto in magazines, TVs, radio ads. Do you want to know why they made that claim? Their food scientists had figured out the optimum fat to salt ratio that triggered the addictive part of you to want to eat more. So they were like, we did it. We unlocked the secret of getting people to eat more Lay's potato chips. Bet you can't eat just one. Food scientists did that. So I am all for healthy eating and healthy living. In fact, people ask me all the time, because I'm fairly fit. I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit on that. People ask me all the time, they ask for advice and stuff like that for eating. And one of the jokes I like to say, if you will, is everybody has a six-pack. You find it in the kitchen. So that gives you a little clue as far as my beliefs and being able to eat healthy, live healthy. But I'm also not perfect. I go by the 80-20 rule. Eat healthy, live healthy 20% of the time, or 80%, 80% of the time. 20% allow myself to have a little cheat meal, allow myself to be lazy, allow myself to sleep in, whatever. Like, I'm not that strict. And I know there are a lot of folks out there who struggle more than I do with that. And if you were dealt a worse, and those people potentially were dealt with a worse deck of cards than I have. Okay, I get that. I accept that. There's no shame in that. It's genetic. That person, those people, you maybe, had zero control over that. You were dealt that deck of cards at the moment of conception. So with that said, hopefully that kind of sheds a little bit of light on things of what we're offering here. So we're offering a membership that saves people to help them with things that they are using, should use, may be using every day in their life. So hopefully that helps. I'd love to hear any feedback you may have. With that, please go and live good.